girl, Mina Mendoza, little girl, big personality, queen of spice. We here. So definitely, I love to start off my show by giving flowers. I just want to give a shout out to Bravery Studios, who had a successful event last Saturday. So it was a podcasters networking event. So a lot of people showed up. It was beautiful to see a lot of communities come together. Shout out to Tito. Shout out to Toast. Shout out to Markets. I saw a lot of faces there that it's nice when people could connect together. I believe Noodles was there too. So there was just like a lot of people, and I think that's like amazing, because that's what these events are for, is for other people to connect. Hey, what is it that you do? What do you do? All right, how can we do stuff together, I also saw a little bit behind the scenes where maybe people were filming a couple episodes, so that was really dope to see. So definitely check out Bravery Studios if you want to see more events like this. But shout out to the people that came out that day. Also, I believe Lori was there too. Shout out to Lori. Also, another quick shout out to Mr. Will White, who's at QXTs as we speak. He's having his beautiful showcase. He's going to release his single. Lori is actually there as a vendor. Shout out to QXTs in Newark. So definitely want to give out the flowers and all that. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. So it's just me tonight. Ashley, who was going to be our guest for today, we're going to reschedule for another date. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I know there was a little bit of changes, but, we're going to keep rocking. And if you're rocking with us right now, thank you. Period. All right. So this is a solo Mina Mendoza show. So I get to talk my ish, just saying. So this is nice. I like talking to my, guests. But when it's just me by myself, it's like I talk about whatever I want to talk about. So, all right, we're going to keep it going. So one thing about today, it's cold as hell. So today is officially, I feel like, sweater weather season. Yes. And I feel like when it comes to like sweater weather, I don't know if it's so much guys, but I feel like this is definitely a girl thing. Have y'all ever stolen a sweater and never gave it back? Or for guys that are watching my show, have you ever gave a girl a sweater and never seen it again? Marv, you ever gave a girl a sweater and never seen it again? Oh, shit. I'm done. But you know what's crazy? This could go both ways, Because I know with girls, not going to lie, at least with me, I'm like, yo, that sweater looks cool. Like, you know what I mean? When we're cold and we get to choose from the closet, it's like, oh, I want that sweater, But I wonder if guys do the same vice versa, if they're like, damn, she's cold, let me show her this side of the closet, because I know I'm not going to see this again. I just wonder how is. Like, is it the other way around? Like, I'm curious about that. But yes, sweater weather. Do you know where your sweater is? No, probably not. But yeah, let me know. What's your favorite sweater? Have you taken someone's sweater? Are you wearing someone's sweater right now? Right in the check-in. All right. So now that it's a little bit colder, I feel like one thing that we could definitely say is, I guess you could say summer's over. Yeah, summer is officially over. I feel like fall season is here. We are in October. Definitely going to have everybody wearing costumes. Before you know it, there's going to be snow on the floor. So it's crazy how fast time really does go by, like super fast. So one things that are happening, for example, we could talk a little bit about what's happening with Bad Bunny. As you know, Mina Mendoza loves Bad Bunny. I love that man. I love that man that I hit the microphone. But if y'all don't know, I'm pretty sure everybody knows. Bad Bunny is going to do the NFL's halftime show. And I feel like this is amazing. This is great. He had a announcement where he said, if y'all don't understand the language, cool, y'all have 4 months to learn. 4 months. 4 months to learn the language so that y'all can enjoy the show. And I feel like personally, even if y'all don't understand the language, y'all still going to enjoy the show. But shout out to Bad Bunny. I feel like that's such a, good for him. Every time I stare at this palm tree in the room, I always think of Bad Bunny. Dead ass. Anytime y'all see my episodes, there's a palm tree, I always think of Bad Bunny. So That's pretty cool. But shout out to Bad Bunny. I feel like getting the halftime show, I feel like that's so exciting. Like, you just finished a residency. Like, he just don't stop. He just don't stop. Yo, shout out to my husband. Shout out to my husband. All right. Other things that we're going to talk about is, more on like the scarier side. Because I was aware that this was happening, but it's so crazy that like now it's happening like a lot. So I don't know if anybody was able to glimpse what happened. I think it happened like on Monday or Monday night or like Monday morning. But it was these two young girls. I think they weren't even like 16, but they were subway surfers. And if anybody doesn't know what that means, it's like people that like, I don't know if everybody played the game Subway Surfers, but it's like people who actually jump on the subway, or in other videos, they hang out underneath the railroad where you just see the train going above them. So these girls were like definitely making a couple videos like this. And unfortunately, at 3 a.m., they jumped on a train and an accident happened and they both lost their lives. And it's just like, I don't know. Like, I'm just thinking, like, one, this is my concern. How did they even get there? Because if you look a lot of these videos, they get into like these crevices where I'm just like, how is it possible that someone could just go in there, especially a child? I also think of too, like, what does like security look like over there? Like, why is this so easy, I don't know. I feel like New York City needs to do a little bit better. Like, in closing these areas, or like if these are areas where I feel like workers need to go to fix the subway trains and maybe they can't close it because it's like an emergency type situation, they should have like a door, you feel me, with like a key or something. They need to figure something out, because once that like, accident happened, and it's unfortunate that two girls died from it, it led me to a whole bunch of videos. I'm like, there's a whole bunch of videos. There's a whole bunch of kids and people that are just doing this. There's like a drone that is caught in New York, and there's like these 3 people on top of a subway. And it's like, don't get me wrong. Like, yo, I get it. The adrenaline, all that. But yo, I would hate for the number 4 train to be the cause of my death. Like, I don't want that. Like, that's wild. And it's just like, one thing that I know for a fact is that this is 100% avoidable. It's just like, again, like, where can we do better at? Because I don't want to see more people dying. I understand people make their own decisions, but is there any way we can make this maybe a little safer? Like, set some restrictions? Could we have more supervision, more security? But yeah, like, no young kid needs to die. I know it was a stupid decision, but how can we do better from this? That's where my mindset is at. All right. So, on another note, you know what's crazy? The Yankees lost. They lost yesterday. All right, I would just put it that way. Because one thing about Mina Mendoza, I'm a very neutral, fair person. I never talk smack about the Yankees. I'm a Mets fan, and I'm always going to be a Mets fan, even though they lost 2 weeks ago. And it's just, it is what it is. That's what part of being a Mets fan is. It's like, it's not always flowers, There's going to be depressing times. And it's about how you stay loyal during those times. And that's what makes being a Mets fan so fun. You don't know what you're going to get with them. Now, the Yankees, they lost yesterday to the Toronto Blue Jays, which is a Canadian team. They lost. So it's just like, wow, like, damn, New York doesn't look great as a unit right now. Like, they don't. But I must say, they did get far in sports, but right now the Yankees are out of the playoffs. I think that's what you would say right now at this moment. But they are out. Am I happy? No. Because, it would be nice to have New York up there regardless. There's no New Jersey baseball team, which is wild. There really isn't. I don't think it would be successful. I feel like New York has too much going. But, it'd be nice. It'd be nice. So that I know happened. A lot of people really upset about that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not happy, but what I'm saying is just like, hey, shit happens. Y'all be all right. We get another year, Now y'all like us. Just saying. So, if anybody is watching the series right now, who do y'all want to win now? You know? I feel like, yo, imagine Canada takes this. It's just like a. And that's like interesting, right? It's just like with the MLB, you have like United States teams, but then you have the Jays. I wonder, is there like a Canadian football team that like plays with like American football teams? This is where like Mina Mendoza's mind goes. I'm just like, does that happen? Like who complained to make that possible? I feel like it might have been someone for like Michigan or something like bordering the Canada borders. They're like, listen, we're nearly touching each other. We should just have a baseball team, and the baseball team is not going to play in Canada. They're going to play in America, and that's just how it's going to work. I'm curious. I'm like, how did that come about? How did that come about? If y'all know, please let me know. Hit me up. I'm always one to know more things. All right, so we're gonna keep this moving. We're gonna keep this going. So we talked a little bit about the unfortunate things that happened with Subway Surfers, Bad Bunny in the Super Bowl, a little bit about sports. Yo, can we talk about what's happening in Hollywood? I'm sorry, but what is going on in Hollywood? I feel like I thought about this the other day. I feel like no one, and like, I don't know, maybe it's me being the millennial, but I feel like no one goes to the movie theaters as like an event thing anymore. Like back when I was like a little bit younger, I remember like people will be in lines for like releases and like, oh, midnight release. Oh, there'll be like a whole bunch of people at Garden State Plaza or like whatever. Now I feel like there's barely anyone like showing up to any releases. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock, had one of the most lowest grossing movie premieres of his whole movie journey. And I feel like, yo, that's crazy to hear, right? Because, yo, this is Dwayne Johnson. This is The Rock. You know, when I think of The Rock, I'm like, yo, he's in The Mummy. He was the guy in Moana. Like, everybody knows that song. Like, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's other movies that I'm not thinking about right now. Oh, Fast and Furious. Like, you know, he has a big name. So, like, to think, like, okay, you have a starring role. I believe he trained so that he could gain more muscle for this role. It's called The Smashing Machine. But, like, it only grossed $6 million. So, I think sometimes, all right, don't get me wrong. Don't come for me. But I think it's okay, and sometimes it just needs to happen where artists or people in general need to get humbled. Hear me out. Hear me out. If you keep being great, you feel me, then you kind of forget what it means to kind of lose and try again. And that's where I feel like the passion and like, you know, because it's like when you make that mistake and you keep going, you could probably make something greater. You know, sometimes a mistake doesn't necessarily mean that it's over. It just means you get to try again. So in this scenario, I feel like with Dwayne Johnson, I don't know, like maybe this could be a lesson for him. Like, yo, like, did you take it for granted? Like, do you feel like maybe you could have took more time in the movie? Do you think the movie was released too soon? Do you think maybe we could have promoted it better? I don't know. I feel like sometimes people need to get humbled because look at Jennifer Lopez right now. Jennifer Lopez right now, she went through a period where people were just making fun of her. You know, like, let me get a ham and cheese on a roll, the orange drink, potato chips. Like, that is now going to be forever. But J-Lo just got a big role in a movie. She just got a really big role in a movie. And correct me, you know, I apologize. I don't have the name of the movie, so please look it up. But she just got a big role. And it's a completely different role, something that she's never really done. And I feel like maybe this allowed her, like this humbled her a little bit, you know? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is just like, yo, because sometimes, like, it just shows that, like, you know, things are always going to go your way. And does this mean that Dwayne Johnson is going to quit? I hope he doesn't quit. I hope he comes out with a crazier movie next year or in the next couple years. But that was like an interesting thing that I saw. And I also started thinking it from a different perspective. I don't know if y'all know this, but sometimes it's not about how the movie does that weekend. And yo, shout out to one of my professors in college. I always remember this guy because he taught me so much. I took like a broad communications class, broadcasting class, and he made me see a lot of different things about movies. And he taught me a lot of how like movies gross, how they make their money. And he told me how, I don't know if y'all remember this movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. When that movie first came out, it was like a flop, like a flop. And it was about to be yanked out of the movie theaters. It was in the movie theaters for like, I think maybe 4 weeks, maybe going on to 5. And it wasn't making money. So they were about to take it out, but then something happened. It's like a spark, like something ended up happening. And My Big Fat Greek Wedding, and y'all can look it up. It's one of the movies that started out horribly, but out of nowhere went viral. It was like in the middle of the night. I don't know if like, imagine like 15 Greek, a big Greek family of 15 people saw it, and then they told their 15 cousins and their 15 cousins and their 15 cousins. Like, I don't know. But overnight, this movie became number one. Number one. And it took a couple months for that to happen. So I'm just curious, are they going to pull the movie out of the movies, or are they going to let it chill? You know? So I hope not. I hope not. I haven't seen it myself, but it just makes you think. Like, there's so many different ways you could think about this. But I don't know. Something to think about. Something to think about. Oh, let's keep it fun. Shout out to Jersey. Yo, shout out to Jersey. Jersey is one of the first states to have come out with 3 weed lounges. One of them is actually in Atlantic City. It's kind of like a Amsterdam, bro. We're getting on Amsterdam vibes. And also shout out to Jersey. Shout out to Jersey, because it's in Jersey. That's where this is happening. And I think it's pretty dope because Atlantic City, I feel like it's great, but I feel like it's almost like you have Atlantic City or Vegas. You know what I mean? So the fact that Atlantic City is trying something new, I love that for them. So it's basically a lounge where you buy your flower there and you get to smoke, or I guess however you want to partake in it, and you just chill. It's like a lounge. It's like going to a bar, but you're smoking. So I actually enjoy that. I feel like that's really cool. I feel like it creates a safe place for people to go and smoke, because a lot of the times, you know, and me just being like an advocate, it's like when you're about to smoke, it's like, unless if you're not in the comfort of your home, yeah, you could probably smoke in your car or do shit like that, but like you could like get a ticket. You could like, you know, it's out in the public. So I feel like having places like this, I just feel like creates a safe place. My only thing is this. I just hope it's chill. I don't know, because sometimes I feel like, you know, with bars, sometimes cops hang out to see if someone leaves a little whatever. And they're like, ooh, I got one. I just hope it doesn't turn into that. That's my thing. You know, like, how could we add like a positive structure to this? Because I feel like this is really cool. I only asked that for people that are going to be partaking in this, please don't mess it up. Like, don't mess it up. Just keep it cool. Keep it cool. Let's continue to do things, more things like this. And let's see where this takes us. You know, like, I can't imagine, like, if you were to tell me 15 years ago that the things that are happening now with weed, I would have never believed you. So I feel like anything's possible. I'm just curious, like, what is going to be the next thing? But shout out to Jersey, coming out with the weed lounges, and it's open now, by the way, so definitely check that out. All right. So, so this is kind of like where I ask myself the funny questions. I remember, I'm going to tell y'all a funny story, and I'm not going to say names because I got to protect the innocent. So this question is, what is the weirdest thing you ever found in your pocket, your sweater pocket? I'll tell you mine. So mine wasn't my specific sweater pocket. Mine was my coworker's sweater pocket. So I will always remember this. We were in Starbucks a couple years ago, and I remember I was with one of my coworkers, and shout out to her. I love her. But I remember one time she came up to me. She's like, "Hey, Mina, do you want a piece of candy? And I was like, yeah, give me a piece of candy. Tell me how shorty pulled it out of the wrapper and gave me the candy bare in her hand. I'm not making this up. And yo, I love her to death. I love her to death. And mind you, this is one of my first times interacting with this person. So I'm looking at her, you know, it's like a blue kind of mint candy. And I'm looking at her. She's handing me the mint like this. And I'm looking at her. I'm like, does she realize what she's doing? So I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I can't take it like that. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. In my mind, this is what she told me. She's like, I'm sorry. In my mind, I was like, she's asking for this. Let me take the wrapper off for her. I'm like, girl, like, what is wrong with you, what? You know? No. So that's funny. I'm like, yo, so, you know, I'm going to protect her name. Let's say her name is, I don't know, SZA. So I'm like, damn, SZA, you just have like mad empty wrappers. Every time you give someone candy or gum, you just got a pocket full of empty wrappers.
That's suspicious.
Facts. I'm like, yo, it's so backwards. But I always remember that moment. I was like, yo, because, you know, when someone gives you a piece of gum or a candy, they're giving you a piece of gum. So imagine they just take out the wrapper and give it to you mad bare like that. Swear to God, true story. I love you, man. If you're watching this right now, I will always remember that story. Always, always, always. All right. Let's see. Would you survive a zombie apocalypse? Or I think just that question. Would I survive a zombie apocalypse? Yes, I think so. I have this conversation with my friends, just to see if my friends are smart. Like I be like asking them these questions. I'm like, yo, we gotta be a unit. If like, you know, shit hits the fan, you know, there are people in my circle and I want my circle to survive. So I gotta ask them these questions to keep my friends sharp. So I remember we asked this question one time and I was just like, yo, what would you do? I'll tell you what Mina would do. The first thing I would do is definitely take whatever is not perishable, like in foods, like cans and all that. Take what I can carry, because I'm not going to bring excessive stuff because you're going to lose it. Take what I can carry for sure. I'm taking weapons. I'm from my last conversation of doing this, Mina actually knows how to start a fire. Just so you know. I saw a YouTube video where it was helping me, and I'm not going to lie. I was in my backyard trying to figure it out, and I started a fire. I turned it off, though, really fast. But, like, I felt like, yo, like, I thought that to myself. I was just like, yo, you really got to learn those basic instincts. Yeah, God forbid, I'm in a situation. Marv, do you know I know how to start a fire now? I'm serious. Everyone always thinks, like, yo, anything, like, if you don't got no electricity, listen, I don't need nothing but 2 sticks and a certain sharpener, and listen, I could build a fire. So, definitely making sure that I have sharp tools so that I could do that. Definitely like a first aid kit, whatever I could bring. Not like bandages. Bandages is mad dumb to have in a zombie apocalypse. You need like fabric. You need like cloth. So will Mina survive a zombie apocalypse? Absolutely. Mina will figure out how to go live after the zombie apocalypse. I swear to God. I will be there. Count me. Yo, listen, don't doubt me, dog. Don't doubt me. Don't doubt me. Listen, we out here. We out here. All right. Period. So another thing I guess we could talk about that's also happening in the world. I guess talked a little about Bad Bunny, subways. It's unfortunate. We talked about the Super Bowl, a little bit about the Yankees. I guess going back to the sweater weather, because I didn't tell y'all this story. Have y'all ever gotten a sweater and gave it back? That happened to me one time. So there was one time that I was at a football game, and I remember I was in high school, and I was really cold. And this guy gave me this sweater, and when I'm telling you, this sweater had a stench. This sweater had a stench. And I remember I felt so bad because I could tell he was being kind. And like, I remember I didn't give it back to him, but I refused to wear the sweater. Like, I wore the sweater on my arms. I remember that. So it's just like, How do you give that? It's like so confusing. It's like you just asked me for my sweater. You were cold. Why are you giving this back to me? I can't tell you. You stink. I want to tell you. I feel like it will help you, but I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna tell you. But yeah, that did happen to me. Have that ever happened to you where you get a sweater and it just doesn't smell right? That's crazy. I'm also curious when it comes to like hygiene and stuff like that. I feel like girls are more direct to tell a guy, but are guys able to tell a girl if she smells? Like either her breath or anything like that. Are guys brave enough to tell her? And this is my other thing. No disrespect to guys. I just feel like if you're going to deliver that message, how are you going to deliver that message? Because there is like nicer ways to say it. There is definitely nicer ways to say it. Like, are you just going to give her a piece of gum and be like, hey, here, I'm chewing gum. Here's one for you. Like, how does that look like? You know, because I feel like that's the mistake. I feel like guys sometimes mean well, but the delivery is so bad. It's so bad, so bad, so bad. I feel like women are good with like the critical thinking part. But how would y'all tell her? Would y'all tell her? Like, what does that look like? I'm curious. I'm curious. All right. I guess another thing we could talk about is we could talk about QXTs. So one thing about QXTs, I remember I used to go to that club when I was younger. Shout out to Newark. I feel like if you've never been to QXTs, what's dope about that scene is that one, it looks like a castle, not from the outside, but the inside. The inside looks like a castle. It looks like a basement vibe. There's like different neon colors, for sure. And I feel like when I used to go, it was like a very gothic, like kind of like mm, new wave would be the music, I guess it would be called. But it was like a very Depeche Mode, like kind of like 80s vibe. And that was kind of the vibe I got. It was just like very dark. And to know that QXTs existed before the pandemic and it's still existing now just shows how, I guess, how much of a staple it is to like Newark and especially Jersey. And I really commend a lot of like businesses that like stay alive after a certain time because when you think about clubs, um a lot of clubs don't survive at all. Like even when you think about clubs like in hip hop culture and Latin culture, like when I think of like hip hop clubs, shout out to Tito, you know, he was my past guest last week. But you know, we talked about it briefly, but there were clubs that used to exist before. Like, for example, like Copacabanas, you had Club Exit. These were like places that people used to go to that don't exist no more. QXTs has remained QXTs for a long time. So I applaud ya. I applaud ya for staying true. Staying true. But Will White, again, a great friend of mine. Shout out to him. He is going to be doing his showcase there. He's going to be doing his single release. Super proud of him. He's such a great artist. He was a past guest on my show when I first started at Bravery Studios. I remember he came on and played guitar, and he's such a vibe. Also, shout out to Gabby Rose. She was actually a past guest on my show as well, and they were able to collaborate with each other. And you could catch it on my Instagram. Shout out to the Queen of Spice. Look me up, Queen number 0F Spice. But there is a clip, and I swear to God, it was so dope. Gabby Rose, she's a beautiful female artist. She plays the saxophone. She just went on tour with the Jonas Brothers, their world tour. She's now working on her own music as well, so definitely check her out. But she came to the studio with her saxophone, and then out of nowhere comes Will with his guitar, and then randomly they just jammed together. And that was such a beautiful thing to see because it's like taking two strangers that know music, and then just create music right there in the moment. I love when magic like that can happen. So shout out to Will White. Will White. He's the man. He's definitely the man. All right. So as we continue to keep this going, I guess let's keep it spicy. Um, what's the weirdest Uber experience you ever had? Ooh, when it comes to weird, I feel like weird could definitely mean two different things. Like it could be like a bad weird or a good weird. good weird, I definitely remember my Uber trip in Puerto Rico. There was one time, shout out to Penny, shout out to Nicole. We went out one time in Old San Juan, and all of a sudden this Uber picked us up, and of course this Uber. What out of all chances? You could definitely catch this on my Instagram. Out of all chances, shout out to Roberto. Shout out to you, my friend. I just remember Penny just being so depressed in the back seat, and she just said this reggaeton song, Travesura, and she played it like she was singing it. And then all of a sudden, Roberto just turned on the lights, And I remember being in the back seat. I'm like, yo, if he passes me a mic, I'm going to freak out. And then out of nowhere, a microphone just appeared. It's like, yo, I am in a different island away from here. How is it that a mic still finds me? That was so dope. I always remember. It was like 2:30 in the morning. It was like the highlight of my night. Shout out to Roberto. But definitely that was like the dopest Uber ride ever. When I have to think of like weirdest, oof. Okay, not weird, but definitely oof. Like I would have to say the unsafest. I remember there was one time I was in an Uber, and I know that sometimes like they like to drive fast, and I love that. I'm gonna give you 5 stars. However, I want to feel safe. If I have to be in the back seat and I'm clenching my hands on the chair, I am nervous. I am very nervous. So I remember there was this guy, and he's funny as hell. Shout out to my Dominicans, yo. Shout out to my Dominican people. Yo, this car was driving so fast. This car, first of all, had a car body kit where it looked like a transformer. Freaking, he picks me up. This guy has a sound system, yo, and he's playing tembo so loud, so loud. And I'm just in the car, like, and mind you, this is not like a 12-minute Uber ride. This is like I was getting a Uber ride to Hoboken. From Garfield to Hoboken. So that's like a good 40 minutes, yo. So he is like driving so fast. And yo, he's literally putting the music down, driving to cars next to him, putting the window down. He's like, hey, what'd you drive? How'd you get that piece in that car? Yo, follow my Instagram. It's like the kindest, fastest driver ever. And I remember that was like, yo, my man, please just get me to my destination. Please just get me to my destination. It was like, it's so weird. Like the kindest race car driver ever. And I was just like, that was weird for me. I don't know. That was weird. Oh, I could tell you a crazy situation that actually happened to my friend. So my friend one time was in this Uber. And yo, shout out to Uber. I feel like there should be like a podcast on Ubers. That would be a good idea. But I remember my friend was in the back seat of an Uber, right? And they got pulled over. So they get pulled over. The cop runs the Uber driver's license, and it comes to find out that their license is suspended. Tell me how the Uber driver managed to ask my friend if they could drive their car so that their car doesn't get towed. Funny part comes after. My friend does the favor for them. Tell me why my friend still got charged for the ride. Like, yo, but like, think about this. You just drove yourself home in a different car. Like, how you still got charged for the ride? Obviously, they complained after, you feel me? But I'm like, dang, I remember that person got dropped off. He's like, yo, I still got charged for the ride. And they had to like complain. I'm like, yo, you know this person's about to lose their job, right? Because you got to like tell them what happened. So I'm like, yo, that's crazy. So it's like Uber drivers are out here driving with suspended licenses. But I remember that was crazy. I'm like, what would you do? And it's like, imagine, like, that's a very brave thing for you to do. Like, what if you didn't have a license? Car just gets towed. That's crazy. It's insane. But yeah, yo, Uber drivers, Lyfts, they need like a show. They used to have like taxi cab confessions and HBO. If they had one for like Uber and like Lyfts, I can't imagine what would pop off. You know? Like, I can't imagine what people leave, like what they leave, like left over. Imagine someone not getting out of your car, someone throwing up, someone arguing. Oh, God, I can't imagine the stories. That should be crazy. All right. Mm. So I asked myself this. If I had to live inside a TV show universe, what would it be? I think if I were to live in a TV show universe, oof. I think for real, and call me old school for this one, it'll be the Jetsons. It'll definitely be the Jetsons. I feel like, and anybody who has watched the Jetsons knows what I'm talking about. They were very futuristic. They were just driving in cars. They had the maid that was the robot. Like everything was dope. Everything. The school was in a bubble. And what's crazy is like when you look at that show is taking place in the year of it now. But I feel like I would definitely want to be there. I would not want to be in the Flintstone area. All they had was rocks. I'm not doing that. I don't want to be in the SpongeBob era. I feel like those people are crazy. I don't know. When I think of like cartoon or an area I want to be in, that's what I would be. I don't want to be in Hey Arnold because low key that's the hood. Why would I go to somewhere else? I love the hood. I love Patterson, but I'm not gonna want to go. I want to go somewhere else to not think of problems. Not that Patterson's a problem, but I'm just saying like you want to go somewhere where it's easier. So to me, it would definitely, yeah, I think I would go and live in the Jetsons. I don't think they had problems. I feel like if anything, they solved the problems. Let me know what environment, if y'all could go back to, if y'all were able to go back to. I want to know about it. All right. So I guess I want to know, would you rather lose your voice permanently or not be able to use a phone permanently? Oh! That's hard. Because it's like, when I was thinking about this question, I was like, these are two forms of communication. You have your voice where you could talk, and then you have your phone where you use it to talk, right? So I think if I had to choose one, I would choose not communicating with my phone. I know that's crazy, because I would say they didn't say anything about a computer. I can send an email. I cannot picture not having a voice. And unfortunately there are people who are mute, but like not having a voice, I feel like that is so much. You have so much power with your voice. You're able to laugh with your voice. You're able to argue with your voice. You're able to speak your mind with your voice. Yeah, you can speak your mind with your email, but I don't know. Like, I feel like having a voice is definitely something impactful. Like, people listen to you. Like, so I definitely, for me, myself, Mina Mendoza, I don't think I could be able to lose my voice. I would rather lose my phone forever than to lose my voice. I'll figure out different ways to communicate. I'll write a letter. I'll send a pigeon, you know? Yo, talking about pigeons, dog. When I'm telling you the innovations that are coming with weed is freaking insane. And shout out to the travel agency in New York City. For anybody who doesn't know what the travel agency is, it's a dispensary. Yo, my friends will make fun of me because I know I said that wrong. Dispensary. How you say that word, Marv? I don't think that's the right word. Dispensary. I think I'm saying it weird.
Dispensary.
Like dispensary. Like, yo. I knew I'm saying it wrong. So the travel agency is a dispensary in New York City. And I kid you not. I am not. Yo, Mina Mendoza is not making this up. They created a new system of delivering your flower, your vapes, whatever it is. Yo, they have a pigeon system. I'm not making this up. They just set up a pigeon system this week. Now, how that works, I do not know. But yo, that is crazy. I'm like, yo, it gives... Like, I'm like, how do you do that? And I also like, I have a lot of questions here. Because one, how much can they carry? Are we talking about, are they just like flying around with an ounce of weed? Like, yo, just like fly. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, look this up. So I don't know the full statistics of it. However, it was approved. And yeah, that's gonna be happening. Yeah, sender pigeons, flyer pigeons, errand pigeons, whatever you want to call them, pigeons. Travel agency is now using that as a delivery system. And that's just crazy, yo, because like, do you think they are doing it to the pigeons so that people can't get arrested? Because you can't arrest a pigeon? I'm like, yo, I just want to understand the science of this. Like, yo, it's like, yo, hold on. Wait, give me, yo, it's like, what's the sale look like? Hold on, my pigeon's in the window. Like, yo, what does that look like? You get what I'm saying? Like, does the pigeon just show up at your door?
Bro, what are
like,
you talking
what
about,
if
man?
you live at an apartment and your apartment is B27? Yo, what does that look like? I have so many questions. I'm not saying that it don't work. But damn, do I got questions, yo. Like, I don't know. Yo. It just makes me think, like, yo, birds are mad smart. I know they used to have, like, messenger pigeons in the past, but, like, messenger weed pigeons? Like, dog, how? What if your pigeon's late? Like, you like, you get me, Marv? Am I bugging? Like, yo, I'm like, yo, my mind is just, like, blown with this. So I'm really curious. I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. But I'm really curious how this is going to work. We're gonna see. And I'm also curious, like, is there gonna be another dispensary that maybe decides to do this as well? Who knows? Shout out to the weed world. Shout out to the weed world. We just making shit happen.
Yeah.
That part. All right, I'm gonna go down to my last couple questions, my friends, because time is coming by to an end. If I were a holiday, which one would I be and why? Oof. If I were a holiday, which one would I be and why? I think it's either between Thanksgiving, because I feel like one thing about Mina Mendoza, at least what I consider, I feel like I don't know. I like to consider myself like a human, like, connection for people. Like, I feel like a lot of my guests, I love the relationships I have built with them. I feel like my guests have connected with other guests. I feel like I'm a good, like, barrier of people. So I feel like when I think of Thanksgiving, it's like a holiday of giving and being thankful. So, like, not like be thankful for Mina Mendoza, like, yes, like, give thanks, but like, I feel like I like the idea of Thanksgiving and how people help each other. I know it sounds cheesy, but like, my whole mantra is I just want to be everybody's homegirl. And in order to be everybody's homegirl is just knowing how to be everybody's friend. So like, when I think of, like, if I were to be blended with a holiday, for sure, one of them will definitely be Thanksgiving. And for some reason, and 420. There you go. 420 and Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I think that fits me. Because I can't picture myself as Christmas. New Year sounds cool, but like, no. I don't want to be the 4th of July. I don't want to be Valentine's Day, even though it's red. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be Halloween. Yeah, yo, I'm Thanksgiving and 420. Those are my holidays. What's your holiday? I want to know. All right, my friends. Besides that, just a quick little drop-ins on events that are happening. Shout out to Tito Grams. He is going to have Bam Fright Fest. And shout out to Tito. Is going to be a amazing showcase of artists. Definitely count in Bravery Studios and Mina Mendoza working together. We're going to be there, just showing the love. Another great guest that I had, but definitely look into that. I believe it's October 26th, which falls on a Friday night. So definitely pop through, show some love. I think it's at Mr. East, which should be in Roselle Park, but it is going to be in a club environment, so definitely show up. But yeah, and also if you have a chance to still stop by QXT's, definitely stop by. It's a $10 admission, but come by, support. It's in Newark. It's all about building this community. And like, one thing that I love about podcasting and what I do is just how beautiful this community is and how amazing it is to tap into and like build these connections with people. So one thing I could say, like, anybody who's watching this, and has been thinking about doing a podcast, or maybe thinking about grabbing a camera, or maybe thinking about going live, just fucking do it, man. Like, life is so short. Life is so short. And just know that, if you have questions, and if you, are curious, don't be afraid to ask, build those relationships. There's resources. You have Bravery Studios here. We just had a beautiful networking night. Tap in, ask us some questions, send a DM, come take a tour. Like, this is a safe place for you to be creative and build. And I just kind of putting that invitation out there. So whoever's watching, come on, let's fucking build shit together. Yeah. With that being said, I'm out of here, man. It's your girl, Mina Mendoza, little girl, big personality, queen of spice. We out.